Why do we miss people who hurt us? Have you ever missed someone you know you should never go back to? Someone who hurt you, someone who disappointed you, someone who made you question your own worth, someone you promised yourself you would never allow back into your life. And yet, somehow, you still miss them. You look at your phone, you remember the conversations, you remember their voice, the places you used to go together, the little things nobody else knows about. And sometimes you even find yourself wondering, maybe I made a mistake by letting them go. But here's the question I want you to think about. If they hurt you so badly, why do you still miss them? The answer may be deeper than you think, because sometimes we don't miss the person who hurt us. We miss the person we believe they were. You miss the good moments. When a relationship ends badly, your mind doesn't always replay everything that went wrong. Sometimes it chooses the beautiful memories. You remember the first time they made you laugh, the first time they told you they loved you, the nights you stayed awake talking, the way they looked at you, the feeling of having someone who was always there. And suddenly you start comparing your lonely present to the happiest moments of your past. That's dangerous because you're not comparing reality to reality. You're comparing your reality to a memory. And memories have a way of becoming softer with time. You forget the arguments, you forget the disrespect, you forget how many nights you cried, you forget how many times you asked for the bare minimum. You remember the good, and your heart starts asking for the person back. But ask yourself something. Do you miss the entire relationship, or do you only miss the moments that felt good? Because those are not the same thing. You miss the feeling, not always the person. Sometimes what you miss isn't the person, it's the feeling they gave you. You miss feeling wanted, you miss having someone to call, you miss receiving a message when you wake up, you miss having someone who knew your daily routine, you miss the feeling that somebody was thinking about you, and when that disappears, silence can feel painful. That's why loneliness can make you romanticize a relationship that wasn't actually healthy. You don't necessarily want the pain back. You just want the emptiness to disappear. And that's an important difference, because if you don't understand that difference, you may go back to someone who hurt you simply because being without them feels worse than remembering what they did. But loneliness is not always a sign that you need them back. Sometimes it's simply a sign that you're still learning how to be okay without them. Your heart can remember what your mind already knows. This is one of the hardest parts. Your mind may know the truth. You know they weren't good for you. You know the relationship was unhealthy. You know how many times they hurt you. You know why you left, but your heart doesn't always move at the same speed as your mind. Your mind says, let them go. Your heart says, but I still love them. And that's okay. You don't have to stop caring about someone overnight just because you finally realize they weren't good for you. Healing doesn't mean you suddenly stop having feelings. Healing means those feelings stop controlling your decisions. You can miss someone and still not go back. You can love someone and still choose yourself. You can remember the good without forgetting the bad. That's emotional maturity. Sometimes you miss who you were with them, and here's something even deeper. Maybe you don't miss who they were. Maybe you miss who you were when you were with them. Maybe you miss the version of yourself that laughed more, the version that felt excited about the future, the version that believed in love, the version that had dreams, the version that thought, maybe this is my person. When the relationship ends, you can feel like you lost more than another human being. You feel like you lost a part of yourself, and that's why you keep looking backward. You're not always searching for or chirp for them. Sometimes You're searching for yourself, but here's the beautiful part. You can become that person again, you can laugh again, you can trust again, you can dream again, you can love again, but this time without losing yourself in someone else. You may be addicted to the pattern. Sometimes the relationship wasn't peaceful, it was intense. One day, everything was perfect. The next day, you were fighting, then came the apology, then affection, then another argument, then another apology, and the cycle continued. That emotional roller coaster can make a relationship feel incredibly intense. You may confuse intensity with love. You may think, nobody has ever made me feel like this before, and that may be true, but intense doesn't always mean healthy. Chaos can feel exciting when you're used to chaos. Peace can feel boring when you've never learned what healthy love feels like. So sometimes you don't miss the person. You miss the emotional intensity. You miss the highs. You miss the feeling of getting them back after thinking you had lost them. But a relationship shouldn't have to destroy you just to make you appreciate the moments when things are good. Love should not require emotional chaos to feel real. Then why does letting go hurt so much? Because you're not only letting go of a person, you're letting go of memories, plans, promises, expectations, a future you imagined. Maybe you pictured yourself marrying them. Maybe you imagined growing old together. Maybe you had already built an entire future in your mind. And when the relationship ends, you're not only grieving what happened, you're grieving what you thought was going to happen. That's why moving on can take time. You're not weak because you still think about them. You're human, but there comes a moment when you have to ask yourself, am I holding on to this person, or am I holding on to the version of the future I imagined with them? Because sometimes the future you're afraid to lose never actually existed. You don't need closure from the person who hurt you. A lot of people keep waiting for one final conversation, one explanation, one apology, one message that finally makes everything make sense. They think, if they just explain why they did it, maybe I can move on. But sometimes closure doesn't come from another conversation. Sometimes closure comes from accepting what happened. They hurt you, it changed you, you learned from it, and now you get to decide what happens next. You don't need someone who hurt you to give you permission to heal. You don't need their apology to choose peace, and you don't need them to understand your pain for your pain to be real. Sometimes the final conversation isn't with them, it's with yourself. Missing them doesn't mean you should go back. This is the part I want you to remember. Missing someone is not a sign that you made the wrong decision. It doesn't mean they're your soulmate. It doesn't mean you should call them. It doesn't mean you should check their social media. It doesn't mean you should send, I miss you. It simply means you had feelings, and feelings don't disappear just because a relationship ended, but you don't have to obey every feeling you have. You can feel the longing and still keep walking. You can remember them and still move forward. You can miss them and still know they weren't good for you. That's strength. One day you'll understand. One day you may look back and realize something. You didn't need that person to complete you. You needed the experience to teach you something about yourself. You learned what you deserve. You learned what you will never accept again. You learned the difference between love and attachment. You learned that chemistry isn't always compatibility. You learned that someone's presence isn't always better than their absence. And most importantly, you learned that losing someone doesn't mean losing yourself. Sometimes losing the wrong person is how you finally find yourself. So if you're missing someone tonight, don't hate yourself for it. Don't pretend you never cared. Don't force yourself to forget everything. Just remember the whole story, not only the beautiful chapters. Remember why it ended. Remember how you felt. Remember the things you tolerated. Remember the person you were becoming. And then ask yourself, if I went back today, would anything really be different? Or would I simply be returning to a pain I've already survived? Let that question sit with you, because sometimes the hardest part of moving on isn't accepting that you lost someone. It's accepting that you were never supposed to keep them. And maybe that's why you're still hurting. Not because they were the love of your life, but because you're still learning to accept that your life can be beautiful without them. So let them be a chapter, not the whole story. Let the memories stay where they belong, in the past. And when you finally stop asking, why did they leave, and start asking, what did I learn? That's when healing truly begins, because the person who hurt you may have been part of your story, but they don't get to decide how the story ends. And maybe the next chapter isn't about finding someone else. Maybe it's about finding yourself again.